Let's talk about Arcade 1-Up, because they've been the talk of the town for the last 3 months for a lot of people. Now, as a consumer, I've done a lot of research on Arcade 1-Up cabinets. I've been looking into them for the past 3 months, trying to weigh their pros and cons, just to figure out, who these are actually made for, are they worth the $300 asking price, and should you buy one? Now, I wanted to make it clear in this video, I personally do not own an Arcade 1-Up cabinet just yet. I'm just making this video to bring all of my findings to you guys and let you know what my thoughts are moving forward with the company. I am really excited and I really am pleased with the idea of Arcade 1-Up. All these cabinets, they're 3/4 scale arcade cabinets with the original artwork still intact. And there's many games available like Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition, Pac-Man, Centipede, Rampage, Final Fight. Well, Final Fight's not out yet, but soon it will be, and so many others. And it's a great thing for collectors and people like, I guess, in my age group, in their mid 30s to mid 40s, kind of in that area. Because people in my generation kind of grew up playing arcade games. We went to the arcade to play these arcade cabinets. So it's kind of cool to be able to bring it home for a fraction of the price of actually buying a full-size, authentic arcade machine. And it's a heck of a lot lighter too, because I don't know about you guys, but I wouldn't want to haul a heavy arcade machine up a flight of stairs, or 2 flights of stairs for that matter. A lot of people like to trash on like the included buttons and joysticks on these things. They say that, oh, they're just terrible quality and just replace them immediately. I don't think that you have to replace them immediately. I think they're actually quite good, even though they're not official HAP or Sanwa parts. They are very capable and very good, in my opinion. They're very responsive. And one thing I wanted to mention is that at my local Walmart store, where they've had these demo units set up for like 3 months, they had a Street Fighter 2, a Pac-Man, a Centipede, and to this day, after 3 months of non-stop playing and abuse by little ones and teenagers, I'm happy to report that they all work perfectly still. The Street Fighter 2 unit is taking a beating. I actually took a photo of it while I was there, so you can see that the artwork is rubbed off on the control panel. But that's something that Arcade 1-Up has remedied. They are shipping out free plexiglass covers for everybody that purchased the original Arcade 1-Up cabinets, so that your artwork doesn't rub off at home. And they're shipping it moving forward with all the arcade cabinets they ship moving forward. So aside from that, the game itself actually played perfectly. All the buttons were still totally responsive. The joystick worked perfectly on both player sides, up, down, left, and right. All the start buttons, the switches, everything still worked perfectly. So for people saying that the joysticks and the buttons are crap, they're just straight up lying to you, because they're not. The only thing that a lot of people have, the only gripe a lot of people have, seems to be with the Centipede cabinet and how the trackball specifically seems to get kind of stuck, where it's not as smooth as it should be. And I agree with that. The demo unit at my local Walmart suffers from the same symptom, where the trackball just isn't smooth. It kind of catches, and it's just not very responsive. So there are some DIY fixes out there that people have posted, so you can actually go and fix it yourself if you are handy enough with that. But moving forward, Arcade 1-Up has also addressed that issue, and all of the current units shipping out of Centipede actually have the responsive trackball, and whatever issue it had before has been fixed. Another issue that a lot of people have brought up was with the Street Fighter 2 cabinet, where the sound, there's only one speaker on the cabinet. So that's take it or leave it. It is what it is. It's a 1-speaker cabinet. But the problem was that the game sound was actually coming through in mono. It wasn't both sound channels combined into one like it should be. It was just the right side was coming through the speaker. The left side was just non-existent. So if you're on the left side of the screen throwing punches or your character select, it was either silent or very, very low volume. So apparently that's been fixed as well with the new boards and the new cabinets being shipped out for Street Fighter 2. In that sense, I'm happy to report that Arcade 1-Up seems to be listening to its consumers and fixing these common problems moving forward, and they seem to be taking care of the customers who have run into these problems previously. Now, I am personally looking forward to some of the other arcade cabinets that they have coming out soon. We have Final Fight coming out, and Final Fight is one of my personal favorites growing up. It was like my first real experience with a beat-em-up arcade game, and I just loved it. I still love it. I still love that game to this day. It's just such a no-brainer. You just walk around and start beating people up. I don't know. I can't get enough of it. I love beat-em-up games in general, but Final Fight will always be like #1 in my book. And of course, I can't forget about the Mortal Kombat cabinet. It's going to have Mortal Kombat 2, and Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 all in one arcade cabinet, and the artwork is just amazing. It's got the classic Raiden with the lightning coming out of his hand. It's just so good. It looks so amazing, and I would just love to have it in my collection somewhere. I don't really have an arcade collection, but I definitely am considering one. Another thing that a lot of people like about these arcade cabinets is that they are easily moddable. You can switch out the joysticks, switch out the buttons, you can throw in a Pandora's box or a Raspberry Pi loaded with a bunch of ROMs, if that's your thing. And it's pretty sweet. I mean, there's a lot of flexibility that you have there. And if you do YouTube searches for Arcade 1-Up mod or Arcade 1-Up custom cabinet, you know, things like that, you're gonna find all kinds of videos with people posting what they've done. I've seen people switch out the ball top to the back top joysticks, switching out the buttons, putting LEDs in there, just switching out the boards altogether, just all kinds of crazy stuff. And it's not a bad project, honestly, because for $300 you're getting an LCD screen. It's a 4x3 LCD screen, so the aspect ratio is perfect for arcade games, but you also get a cabinet. It's not a 100% full-sized arcade cabinet, but it is a cabinet that's relatively sturdy for its size. You have buttons, you have joysticks, and a speaker. So, I mean, that's not a bad deal for $300. If you wanted to build an arcade cabinet from scratch as a main cabinet, you're going to be spending more than that. So this is not a bad starter project for people that are looking to get into that. So the last question is, Arcade 1-Up, is it worth it? Is it worth spending $300 on one of their arcade cabinets? And I think that answer depends on who you ask. If you are a casual fan of video games and you have kind of a passing interest in video games, $300 might be asking a bit much, considering that each cabinet only comes with 3 or 4 games. So that is quite asking a lot for some people. Now, if you are just a super mega retro game fanatic and collector, I think it is worth it because you get the original arcade cabinet artwork, you have the original controls, at least the layout, and it looks great. I mean, I can't really think of anything bad to say about it. There's one thing that a lot of people aren't too fond of, and that's the fact that the marquee at the very top isn't lit up, except for the Golden Tea cabinet. That one seems to have a light up marquee, but everything else doesn't. It's not a big deal in my opinion, but it is something that a lot of people have noticed and brought up, but you know, not a big deal in my opinion. If you plan on modding the Arcade 1-Up cabinet, if you want to add a Raspberry Pi, for instance, like I mentioned earlier, or Pandora's box, I definitely think it is worth it, because if you want to have an arcade cabinet experience at your home and you want to save a little bit of money, you really can't go wrong with the Arcade 1-Up, because it's great out of the box, because you'll have a near arcade perfect experience. I mean, it is a little bit smaller, the buttons aren't the authentic original buttons that were on the original cabinet, but they're close enough in my opinion, and they work and they get the job done. So yeah, for $300 you really can't go wrong there. It's a great little cabinet and you can mod the heck out of it and do whatever you want. You want to put the Ninja Turtles arcade game in there? That's totally fine. Simpsons? Totally fine. Alien vs. Predator, that's totally fine. Alien vs. Predator is my second favorite beat 'em up of all time. But that's it. I just wanted to make this quick little video discussing the Arcade 1-Up cabinets and my thoughts on the whole thing. I may end up purchasing one in the near future. I've been kind of doing a bunch of research on it, seeing all the, like I said, the pros and the cons, and I definitely think that ultimately it is worth it, because you get, just out of the box, you get a lot of value for your money. If you wanted to build this thing on your own, using your own materials, you're actually going to be ending up spending more money than just purchasing an Arcade 1-Up unit to begin with. So it's not a bad deal at all in my opinion, and it just looks great. They're great little arcade systems, and you can purchase the riser to make them taller if you prefer standing up and playing versus sitting, and they're perfect for kids. This is one thing that a lot of people tend to overlook. If you have kids and you want them to experience this arcade cabinet, they are a perfect size. They're little people for a little arcade machine, and it's perfect. I remember whenever I was a kid, I would go to the bowling alley, and I would be so small compared to these giant arcade machines that I could like barely see the screen, and I'd have to like reach up here to touch the buttons. It wasn't a pleasant experience being little and also liking arcade machines. So luckily, that whole thing's been remedied with this Arcade 1-Up. If you have little ones, I'm sure they would love the Arcade 1-Up, and I'm sure my little ones would love it as well. I'm gonna have to kick them off of my arcade machine every now and then. I'm like, hey, it's daddy's turn, get off. But anyways, you guys, thanks for watching. I have more videos coming. I just wanted to throw this one out there. I've just been thinking about it for a while. And yeah, please subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.